Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. This little video was to kind of explain why I haven't had a video in a couple weeks. I was crafting and doing the things, and as most of you know, there comes a time in your crafting you're like, I'm overwhelmed. There's too many things, too much is in my way. I need some kind of an organization because I cannot find my stamps, my stencils, my whatever. So I kind of stopped and decided I was going to organize my stencils, stamps, and dies. And I have done that for the most part for my stencils and my dies. But my stamps have become this full-blown project that is overwhelming me very quick, very quickly. So I wanted to show you what I was doing. Maybe it would help someone else, and maybe I could show someone that was just beginning or early on in their collecting where this would be so much easier. Had I done this, 2 years ago, it would have been fantastic. Also, there is a Paper Crafters Get Organized, I believe is what it's called. Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit. And it's free. And I'll put the link below. It's nothing. I'm not, nothing to do with me. I don't have any affiliate with it. I just got a ticket for it, a free ticket, because I thought it would help me. I've watched a lot of videos lately. Dragona with Sasibo is where I got these ideas. And I think they're awesome, but I thought if they could help me in any other way to try to stay organized as I craft, that would be wonderful. And I think it starts Friday the 19th. Is that Friday? No, the 18th. No, the 19th. I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, let me show you what I've done here. And these books, years ago, our library they have one every year, but I've had these for a few years. They have a sale where they get rid of things that aren't being used or checked out or whatever. And if you don't buy them, they end up in the dump. So I got these full of cat magazines for like a quarter or 50 cents, and they were awesome. So this is what I have used for my stencils, stamps, and dies. So my stencils were very easy. I have these sleeve protectors, and I just divided my stencils up by category. And that's the first thing you want to do in any organization that you're going to do, is decide how you look at things. A lot of people that do the stamps or the dies or whatever, especially stamps, they keep their collections together. Like they like to keep all their Tim Holtz or all their, you know, art by Marlene, whatever together. I can't think that way. I have to think like, okay, now I'm looking for numbers or words or pictures. So that's how I divided mine up. So my stencils are by numbers and words. This one has like designs and shapes. Same here. This one has like flower stencils. This is also flower stencils. This is bees, anything to do with bees, like the honeycomb. And that's how I divided mine up. Butterflies and dragonflies. The beach themed ones. That's how I divided mine up. And I put them in these sleeves. And I have a lot, but it's not so much that when I'm looking for a number or a word, I just go to this sleeve and I will find it. So that's how I divided my stencils. And on my dies, basically the same concept. The difference, I bought some, and I keep my extra plates in here as well, some magnetic sheets from Amazon, and I put them down on cardstock because they're adhesive on the back, and just put, so like this one's shapes, obviously, borders, the beach, themed ones, both pages. This is leaves and plants kind of thing. And again, like I say, decide what makes sense to you. How will you go about looking for things? Flowers, keys, buttons. So that's how I have done miscellaneous. Here's my numbers, my abstract shapes, miscellaneous, and more small miscellaneous things. That's how I've done these. And like I say, I just put my magnetic sheet onto a piece of cardstock. And I didn't even, on some of the later ones, I didn't even take off the adhesive back to stick it to the cardstock. Mainly the cardstock is in there just for support because these magnetic sheets are heavy. This one's glued down, but some of them I didn't glue down. Like this one, I just slid it in there. Some of them I stuck down to just packaging, you know, something that was heavier like these. And that's how I done my dies. And then I just put these little pieces in the cover because, like, you know, the more intricate pieces, then you roll over your, I don't know what that tool is called. Looks like this. So you roll it over your intricate dies and it lets the pieces, the smaller pieces come out. And then it has the little pick on the end. And then this one has, I don't know, looks like a little spatula. But I keep all of that together in this book so that when I'm die cutting, it's easy to find all the things I'll need to die cut with. And I keep this book right by my Sizzix on a little stand so it all kind of stays together. And that sounds very organized, but the problem is my craft room is very, very small and it's not all that organized. That's why I'm doing this. And then as a side note, also by my embossing machine, die cut embossing machine, I keep my embossing folders just in this little basket. And I don't have that many, so it's not like I have to organize them by style. Some people may think, ooh, that's a lot. Most crafters will think, you know, it's not, because it's really not. It's probably more than I need. But it's, you know, that's how I keep that. And I do keep this on top of the die cuts. I was just showing that as an afterthought because that's what sits on top of that little stand. So these are the magnetic sheets that I used. I just got them off of Amazon. They were the cheapest that I could find. They came 12 to a pack and they're 8 by 10. So I knew that in my 8.5 by 11 sleeves, I wouldn't have to cut them down. Now on my laminating sheets, they were bigger than that. I think they might have been 8.5 by 11. So to get them in my sleeves, I ended up cutting them down to 8 width. I didn't cut off any of the height because I was thinking I would put a label that could stick out from the top on them, which I didn't end up doing. I ended up putting stamps all the way to the top, and it covers, you know, all but maybe 1/4 of an inch of the top. So on the laminating sheets, I do cut them down, and you'll see that where they can slide in and out of the sleeves. You'll see that on the stamp part. And then I just wanted to show you on the sheets, these were the magnetic sheets that I used. And I intentionally got them a little smaller than I knew and this just peels off. But again, on some of them, I didn't peel this off. I just slid it down in the sleeve. But I intentionally got it smaller so that I wouldn't have to cut them down to get them into the sleeve. And these sleeves, I don't even know. I've had them so long because this is how I organize my scraps, my paper scraps. And these are, I have a couple of different ones of these. Raise you up a little bit if I can. these are the cards, you know, scrapbook paper cardstock. I have them kind of sorted by color in this book. And when I did this project a long time ago, I had gotten these sleeves. So, and I know that looking at this, it doesn't make much sense, but it does in my crazy mind. I know how I have them divided up. And I have a couple of these books. One's for the cardstock, and then I have one for miscellaneous papers, you know, like the mixed medias that I've done, or the painted book pages, or the magazine pages, packing paper, you know, vellum pieces, little bits of tea-dyed papers, you know, just different things. I have them sorted like that. And this one, corrugated, or I'm sorry, this is cardstock, heavier cardstock. But that is how I do my scraps. And I wasn't intending to show you that on this video. It just kind of led to that. So I hope that helps too. And this isn't all the scraps I have, but these are the ones that are bigger that I think I will use to make other things. My smaller scraps usually go by the sewing machine, and I sew through the middle of them, like something like this. I would sew down the middle to just make a pocket or decoration or the side of a page. Anyway, I'm getting off kilter as to what this video is about. It's about organization, not making things. Okay, so there is that. Okay, and moving on to my stamps. This is where I got frustrated, and I went to bed last night thinking I'm done. Anything that's not in this book already is going to go to the shelter, or, you know, some other people that can use it. I'm just very frustrated and angry with myself that there are so many. And here's where the problem comes in. When you first start crafting, whether it's journaling or whatever, you see things and, oh, I can make this, I can make that. And I went to a lot of secondhand shops, so they were extremely cheap. I mean, like quarter, you know, for however many. And ended up with way more than I thought I had. So what I did on the stamps was the same thing, but unfortunately, I didn't think it through that I need to, how am I going to look at them first? I did think that, but what I should have done, because what I did was I took my cling stamps and I cut, you know, like I said, if it was a Tim Holtz, or these aren't because they're not backed, but like if I cut off all the numbers, words, you know, my sections that I was using, and separated them all. That was my first mistake, because then it became like a jigsaw puzzle to get them all back together. The smart thing for me to do, for the way my mind works, is I should have just taken, like this one, it's Creative Expressions. It's got a lot of signatures, numbers, you know, miscellaneous labels. I should have taken this. This would have been the way I would do it. This is the way I would do it today. And I would go through and put two-sided tape on each of these. I wouldn't take anything off. I would just put on two-sided tape. Then I would go through and cut them to go on the sheet that I want it to go on. Like I would, you know, this register here would go with my post office stamps and this and that. These numbers obviously would go on my number sheet. You know, the signature, I actually have a signatures sheet, the labels, etc. So I would have done one sheet at a time, not cut everything like I did and then try to put it onto sheets. That become too much like a crossword puzzle, and or a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm over it. So that's how I did these. I cut them out, put two-sided tape on the front, stuck them onto the laminating sheet as a whole piece. So as I'm flipping through, I can see what I have. They're in the sleeves, and they are on. What I did for these was I just laminated some sheets. I didn't put anything in the lamination. I just ran the laminated sheets through the laminator, and they're heavy enough for me and what I use. These are 5mm, I think. And then I put them on that and slid them into the sleeves. A lot of people go ahead and poke the holes and don't put them in sleeves. I did it because a lot of mine don't have a lot of stick to them, and the thought of trying to find a teeny little stamp in this craft room was overwhelming. So I put them in sleeves so that if they do fall, I at least know it goes with this sleeve. So like I have, you know, the stamps and the postal theme, and then I have words and sayings and the clusters of words. I have tickets and tags. So I also took off, I had, those were just my cling stamps. Now for my wooden stamps, and I have 3 bags, huge bags like this, full, and more. There's boxes too. Isn't that ridiculous? So what I did with those is and I've already done it, so I can't show you, but you know, I peeled off the stamp. And sometimes they come off really well, and sometimes they don't. If they don't, that's okay too, because I back them with foam pieces, and I'll show you that here in a second. But so I peeled them off, and at first, one of the videos I saw, this is a sticker, so they peeled this sticker off as well to stick down in their book to show what stamp it was. That became too tedious for me to get this off. Plus, not to mention the fact when I was peeling off all the stamps, I laid this fingernail back right in the middle and almost cried. It hurt so bad. So I would suggest, if you're going to peel these off, take a card like this and try to get it up for the ones that are difficult. Do not use something like this, even though it's dull. It only makes it hurt worse when you run it into your hand. And you can't see it now because I did this when I very first started, ran it right into my hand, and it's just become, this has been a couple of weeks, me trying to do all of this. So again, some people peel this off and use that. I decided I wasn't going to do that. So what I did was, after I peeled mine off, and I want them in categories like this one, these 4 all go together. So I stamped them on just scrap paper, and then cut out the stamp, put the double-sided tape on it, and put it on the side of the laminate pouch. And then I put my stamp on the other side, so that as I'm flipping through, you know, I can see what I have, take my stamp off. Plus, with this method, whether it's the cling stamps or this stamp, you can always move them. If you decide that doesn't make sense to me, I shouldn't have put it there, you can peel this off, this double-sided tape. It may not be the easiest, but I've moved several of them already, and you can do that. But let me show you on this foam what I use when it doesn't come off all the way to make an even stamp. Okay, so I know that they make crafters foam, and it's thicker than this. These I got at the Dollar Tree ages and ages. Probably, well, my grandson is 14 today, and I got these, I think, on his 4th birthday. So they're, you know, very old. They're 10 years I've had these things, had nothing to do with them. So anyway, they are foam, but these are thin. So what I did, and here's a couple of them that I couldn't peel off the back with them. So what I did was I just put 2 layers of that thin foam together and glued them onto the back. And crafter's foam is thicker, so you wouldn't need to double it. And then to make the foam tacky so that you can stick it to your laminate sheet, I will use this Tack It Over and Over by Aleene's. And also I use this on my stamps, the ones that aren't wanting to stick. Just put a little bit on the back, let it dry, and they'll stick again and again. And that's what I'm going to do with these. But the ones that did stick, now these weren't on a stamp. These were in a Tim Holtz collection, I believe. And, you know, of course, they have the nice words already on the back. It's not sticky, so I'll have to put the aliens on the back and put them on my sheet, my number sheet. But I have put the stamps separate than the clings as they take, you know, a little bit more room. But I know all of that is a cluster of information, and it was very probably not. I think the most helpful things I can tell you is choose your categories first, and then put, as you take your stamps off, whether it be the wood blocks or the cling stamps, as you take them off, put them on the page that they should be on. That, to me, was the easiest. But like I said, a lot of people like to keep the collections together, like this one. They would just put this whole sheet down and keep it all together. I didn't want to do that. I was trying to save as much room as possible. And like I say, my mind doesn't work in collections. I don't know who makes what. I can't remember like that. I remember that I want a number, you know, a big number, a little number, you know, I remember what I want. So it was easier for me to break them down into categories. Like when I'm making postcards, I know that I want all of my postal stuff to be together. You know, all my little stamps like that to be together. So that's why I broke mine down. But again, a lot of crafters, they know who makes what, and I don't. And they like to keep those together. This would still work for that scenario. So I hope this helped. I hope this helped. I hope that it inspired you to maybe be able to, you know, create a system that will work for you. And like I said, that Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit starts Friday for the free ticket. I think they offer a bundle. There's like 26, 28 crafters that are in it that will show videos on how to get organized, just different areas of crafting. So I'm going to try that and see if it helps me. um, but I wanted to show you what I was working on, and hopefully it will help someone. I really hope that a beginner sees this, because had I done this when I had one cling stamp and started it that way, it would have been so much easier. Also, just a side note, I'm also rusting. I've been rusting some things because that's easy to do when you don't have time. You put it in your rust solution and then walk away and forget it. Isn't that cool? I love rusty stuff. Those are just a few that I've already, and this is something that I made with it that's going to go in a journal that I've been working on for some time, that once I started this organization has come to a quick halt. But this is a coffee journal, and I rusted a little spoon, laminated a little coffee cup. This one's not laminated, but I just linked those together, and then they're on a rusty paper clip. I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, that's just to show you what I was working on. And then I also was working on these wonderful things. These wonderful, wonderful, my new favorite kinds of paper to add to a journal. And I'll be doing a video on that soon. But just, I'm still crafting. I'm just trying to organize, and I waited way too late in the game to organize. I should have done this years ago. But I hope this helped you. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Hopefully things going forward will be more organized and productive. Also, if you're like me and having lots of issues trying to stay organized, and when you're not organized, myself, when I'm not organized, I have a hard time crafting because I just feel so overwhelmed. My new philosophy is nothing comes in this craft room unless something else goes out first. So we'll see how long that lasts. But anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope it helped and maybe give you some sparks of ideas to do for your craft room if you're having the same issue. And thanks again for giving me your time today. And any ideas that you have, or things that I should have done, or ways to make this better, I would appreciate your comments. And I will put the link for the summit below. Again, I'm not affiliated with it. I'm just, and I don't know yet what it's like. I'm just hoping it will help me. And I'll put that below. I'll also put below the link for Dragona. Her channel is Sasibo. And what it is, I'll put her link. But the video it was in was her craft room. I think it was part 1 and 2. And she shows different ways that she organized things. And that was very, very helpful. And 49 Dragonflies, she did this as well, this stamp. And I'll put her link below if anyone's interested in those things, if that will help you. And again, thanks again so much for giving me your time. And I will see you next time, guys. Thanks. Bye.